If you're a Christian girl who's single, here are some things to think about. Whether you've been single your whole life or just a few months, there are some traps that are really easy to fall in when you're single. The first one is feeling like you're not enough for a guy. We call it inadequacy. And this is something that the devil has used to plague multiple people throughout history. You just feel like you will never be enough for the guy you want to be with. And that the reason guys aren't noticing you is because you're not as good as some other girl. But that is not what God says about you. In fact, God says you are treasured and his daughter. He says you have a purpose in life and you're chosen by him. The story that's helped me whenever I feel inadequate is when Moses feels inadequate of his calling. And God tells him that he's standing on holy ground, and he reminds him that he is the person who is fueling his calling. It's not Moses. If God calls you to be a wife one day, then there is nothing that you can do to mess that up. Your inadequacies are not strong enough to mess up God's plan and purpose. Feeling inadequate is a normal feeling, but it has no room in the kingdom of God because he sees you as worth so much that he sent his son to die for you. No guy should have the power in your life to make you feel less than the worth God placed on you with his son. 2, some girls feel like they're being too much for a guy. If you're being a Proverbs 31 woman, you're being successful, you're presenting yourself in a beautiful way as God's daughter, you are going to intimidate some men. I like to think that the men who aren't approaching you, who aren't coming for you, are the people who God is protecting you from. At the end of the day, you'll only be able to have one husband. When I'm around really awesome guys, really cute guys who I would love for them to ask me out and they don't, I like to think that that's God saving me time because he knows later on the road they would either hurt me or it wouldn't work out and it would cause me more pain. Some guys will be intimidated by your success, by the fact that you have your act together. But likewise, that's going to attract the guys who have their act together, and it's going to repel the guys who don't have their act together. Just think about it. If you're living at a standard that makes God happy, then you should be attracting the type of men that make God happy. And you should attract a man who is living at God's standard for his life. And if he sees your life as a threat, then he definitely is not ready to handle you and you don't want him. If a guy is not approaching you or coming up to you, see this as a good thing because God might be trying to save your heart for the right person. 3, a lot of single girls see singleness as an issue. But I heard a quote once that said, God's best for you is whatever season you're in. If he wanted you to date, if that was his best for you, then that's what season you would be in right now. But for whatever reason, his best for you right now is to be single. Singleness is like a time of preparation. A lot of people want this visible relationship on the outside that they can show to people. As girls, we want to be able to say, I'm so-and-so's girlfriend. But if you're not willing to do the root work that no one sees before the tree grows, then you're not going to be able to have a lasting relationship. Singleness is actually a time that you can build your relationship with God and have that root work firm. You can work on yourself, you can call out the things in you that you need to work on so that whenever that relationship does come, it's on a firm foundation. And my last tip is if you want to be a wife, if you want to have someone who has this long list of things that you adore about them, start living like her now. Think about the type of guy you want, this husband material guy. Are you acting like a wife? Are you being a responsible person? Are you putting God's relationship first before every other relationship in your life? Because if you can't do that now while you're single, how are you going to be able to do that whenever you're in a relationship? Do you have a good relationship with your family and with your friends? Are you learning how to confront people in a biblical way and work through issues, or are you just shoving it all under the rug for future you to deal with later? Are you being a healthy person? Would someone take it as a compliment if they were told that they acted like you? The benefits of single is that you don't have to be tied to someone and tell them what you're doing all the time. It's honestly a beautiful time in your life, and it's a time that I believe God gives us to focus on our friends, focus on our family, and focus on him. It's easy to think that God isn't giving it to us because he just wants us to go through pain, but that's not the case. If God is making you wait, there's a reason. The other person may not be ready, you may not be ready, there might be a different timing issue. At the end of the day, your life goal is not to have a rom-com story with your future husband. Your life goal is to have an amazing, beautiful love story with Jesus. I have no doubt that God is fighting for you in rooms that you have no clue that he's fighting for you in, and he's preparing things for an amazing story for you.